Hey everyone, Benny here, Customer Success Manager for LinkedIn, coming at you with my tip of the month for August. So the idea is we spend a couple of minutes talking about anything hiring or TA related, and we'll tie it back to a quick recruiter demo. So I've actually just come back from a company-wide conference in the States, and I'm actually so excited because we have so much goodness coming, and I can't wait to be sharing a lot of that with you guys, upcoming features and tools that'll really make your life a whole lot easier in the coming months. But today I wanted to talk about something that LinkedIn have put an extremely tremendous amount of investment in over the past year or so. You've probably heard it before. We call it our skills first vision or skills first hiring. And really, it's just a slightly different take on hiring, rather than hiring for past experience, job titles, degrees, for which most of our lives we've primarily screened based on. This is now shifting into a world where we hire for skills. So our CEO, Ryan Roslansky, he calls it uh, skills are the new currency in this economy. And I love that because you think about all the roles out there broken down, they're really just skills. So LinkedIn data has shown us that the skill set for jobs have actually changed by around 25% since 2015. And that number is expected to double in the next 5 years. Um, it's just crazy, right? Accelerated by the pandemic, accelerated by macroeconomic changes in these past couple of years and up and coming. So what that essentially means is jobs are changing on us so much. Even if you aren't changing jobs, jobs are evolving. My job title didn't exist 10 years ago. But what doesn't change is the skills behind each job. And an example is one of my good friends was able to pivot from, let's say, I think she was a restaurant manager, and then she worked at a front desk in a hotel. And actually, that was before the pandemic. So during the pandemic, she lost her role at the hotel, was able to pivot into HR assistant, and this was in a nice large corporate company, um, completely different to what she would have originally been doing. But it's from hospitality and from what she'd learned at the restaurant and the hotel. She's done customer satisfaction. She knows leadership, time management, communication, and an array of organizational skills, which are so transferable into her new role in HR. But without a formal degree, without any prior HR experience, um, they could have easily missed out on her through the recruiter searches. I can guarantee it. So this gets me to my next part, right? As a recruiter, what can you do differently when you're performing a recruiter search? So currently, actually, 40% of hirers use skills or skills data to find talent, which is about half of you guys. Um, but we did notice LinkedIn data shows us that these 40% of you guys who actually use skills data are actually 60% more likely to find a successful hire, um, than compared to not using those skills. So let me share my screen because that's an interesting one. Let's go through a recruiter search together. All right. So let's say we're looking for a junior account manager role for a SaaS or software company based in Singapore. Okay, so this is on the left. On my right, I've just got a blank recruiter search open. So assuming that you've got this and you've done a basic recruiter search for past or present job titles for account manager, account management roles, which is what you and I would both do. What can you do next? So let's take a skills first approach. We want to perform a search with keywords. Okay. Again, the difference between performing a search through keywords versus skills is that keywords actually search for the entire member profile, whereas skills only searches for the skill section of the member profile. which is actually reliant on that person proactively filling out and updating that part of their profile or being endorsed by their peers. So I usually hesitate from using the skills and assessments search function, and I usually stick with keywords. But remember, we're searching for skills through keywords. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is probably actually just do the location, just because we know for sure that this is going to be a role based in Singapore. And for simplicity, let's just keep it to current. By the way, these are real member profiles, but the names and the images of their profile picture have been changed just for the purpose of this demonstration, but they are real member profiles. Next thing you want to do is actually come up with a nice Boolean search through keywords. So on the left, just follow me here. Let's come up with some non-account manager roles or skills. Think customer-facing, client-facing roles. I've come up with a couple here, and often when you're coming up with these searches, they will take some time, a couple of iterations. You might need to do a little bit of research about the role as well. You know, client relationship, customer service, customer success, CSM, or consultant. Maybe a couple of roles or skills that an account manager would share. Let's tag on something that would make it a little bit more relevant for a SaaS company. For example, let's hope that somewhere on their profile, they have one or more of these keywords: software, SaaS, technical. Maybe they've studied IT in the past, to just show us that maybe they have some signs of having interest in the SaaS or software space. As we know, account managers tend to require a sales element as well to the job. So maybe having a couple of these sales-related keywords would be good on their profile as well. So remember, we're stringing along these and statements. And as long as the member has one of these keywords in that profile, that satisfies this part of the statement. Maybe they've done cold calling in the past, pre-sales, negotiate, or maybe they've worked in retail. Account managers may also require some other skills, some soft skills, which we can maybe include in the last part of the statement. Maybe they've done public speaking, problem solving, they've got to teamwork, communication. And these skills you can add or remove and you can play around with. But essentially what the search is doing is now, for example, I've got a member who has customer relations on their profile, plus they've got technical on their profile, they've got sales on their profile, and they've got problem solving on their profile. This would come up in my search, and this is telling me that they're probably relevant for this account manager role. So something that I want to do at the end is actually I want to perform a search that excludes any candidates that have account manager or account management on their role. So this means that this is probably hidden talent that you wouldn't have searched for if you search for account manager. You can, or you don't have to include this, but I find that this is a really good way to tap into talent that probably hasn't been reached out to by a gazillion other recruiters. Okay, so let's copy and paste this Boolean statement into our keywords. And let's see how that narrows our search down. Got 66,000 results, which is still a fair amount. Let's add spotlights and let's bring this down by about a third. I'm more likely to respond. Now this job also is asking for a junior role. So what I'm thinking is potentially we could add a year of graduation. Now, be careful when adding a year of graduation filter because it assumes that they have studied, right, or have some sort of a degree, which you don't have to have a degree to do an account manager role. But this is going to give us slightly more, well, it's going to narrow our results again by about a third. Let's just assume that they've graduated 2018, 2020, which means they've probably worked for, maybe 2 or 3 years. Let's update that. Just for the purpose of this demo, I don't know if this is something that I would do. But also remember, anyone who's graduated with a master's degree, they're also going to be included here, which may actually have them a bit overqualified for the position, arguably. But this, this is going to be a good way to bring our results down and hope that it's more relevant for a junior role. And the last thing I actually like to do is years in, so this is in the advanced searches. We've got a lot of fields to be able to filter. And I like to look at years in current position. And I like to search for candidates who have been in their position for at least 1 year. Because what that means is they're probably more likely to be open to opportunities, given that they've been in their role for, a year. So that's 3,700 results, which is, I'd say, a good amount to start with. And you can continue to narrow this down if you want to look for particular companies that you want to hire from. Have a look at the search breakdown. I absolutely love this feature because it shows us what our talent pool looks like. We can map our talent to, certain companies that maybe we want to target. Perhaps we include these companies in our search and we have a tailored in-mail to try and poach from these companies. Just some ideas. But hopefully, this gives you a really good example of navigating a skills first search. Remember, this is I'd say quite a powerful search because, no one in that search result actually had account management or account manager on their profile, right? Let's go through some of these candidates, right? They've done client service work, customer service work, but this person now works for IBM, sales consultants, project managers and associate consultants. These people have not got account manager on their profile. And potentially they might be interested in this role. So yeah, like I said, a great sort of way to tap into sort of this untapped talent. And hopefully that was helpful. Like I said, LinkedIn have spent a lot of time and made a lot of investment in this area, developing this global skills taxonomy, and in hopes to contribute to this sort of skills-based economy in the future. And it is here now, and we are seeing more and more success through recruiting via skills. But that was all for today. I know this was a bit of a longer one than usual. Thanks for your time, and hopefully you got something out of it. I will see you next month.